Hi there. If you're using Microsoft Teams as your primary video platform, then for conference rooms, you're probably looking at the Microsoft Teams room systems. So we have the Poly G10, G40, and G85-T for the various room sizes for Teams room systems. So our core Teams room system is the touch control, which we call our Poly GC8, and the compute itself, which comes pre-configured for this Teams use case. So it's very simple. When you walk into a conference room with a Teams room system, you just have a simple join button on the screen. So you can just walk up and you just hit that join button to quickly, easily join into your Teams meeting. And it is running Microsoft software, so it's a completely native experience, very familiar, very similar to what's on using Teams on your PC. So from here, since it's native, I can do all kinds of controls with it. I can mute and unmute from here. I can turn my camera on and off. I can raise my hand from here. If the meeting room happens to be an organizer of the meeting, I can start and stop my recordings from here. I can turn live captions on and it'll start listening to everything I'm saying and printing it on the screen. So very simple solution. And that's for a scheduled workflow. But how about if you walk in the conference room and you haven't actually scheduled any meeting, but you want to just ad hoc create one? Since it is a native experience, I can just come up here and just say new meeting, and it'll just create a brand new meeting on the fly without a computer at all. I can just start typing a conference room name or a person's name and just invite them directly using the Active Directory and the color picture contact card for that person or that room. So very simple solution. If I need to share content, I can just plug in an HDMI cable into the back of this touch control, or I can use the new Microsoft casting to wirelessly cast to the device using that new Microsoft Teams feature. So we have all that built in. Now, what if you do have a Zoom meeting or a WebEx meeting every once in a while that you need to join? Well, this solution does have the direct guest join, as they call it, which allows you to one-click join also into Zoom and into WebEx directly from this interface. As far as the room sizes, so in the small or medium-sized conference rooms, we use what we call the Poly G40-T. So the G40-T is this touch control, the computer itself, which comes pre-configured, and this device right here. This is called the Poly Studio USB. So this is kind of an all-in-one system. So it's got the camera built in, it has stereo speakers built in, and it has 6 microphones built in. So there's 4 mics on the front and there's 1 mic on each side. And one of the reasons why there's so many mics is not just to give you great audio on the far end, but also these mics are used for automatic camera tracking. So with the tracking, I just turn that on and it'll now find me anywhere I go in the space. So anywhere I move, it'll automatically adjust to find me and center me and zoom me in. And it is doing face tracking, but it's actually smarter than that. It's doing what we call speaker tracking, meaning that it's actually tracking the conversation. It's listening and it knows where in the room the conversation is, and that's where it'll track. Another very useful feature is the noise blocking capabilities that are built to the product. So people are working in some strange areas these days, and it's loud wherever they are, whether they're at home or in a conference room or wherever it is, it's probably loud. So we can block out any noise automatically. So if the device it's in real time, it's listening. If it hears human speech, it'll pass that through. But if it's hearing just noise, it'll block it. So if I forget to mute and I'm typing a novel in the background, it just strips that noise right out. Even louder stuff like rustling papers, lawnmowers, snow blowers, whatever it is. So it just blocks that noise right out. So that's our Poly G40-T for small and medium-sized rooms. How about the larger conference rooms for Microsoft Teams? So for that, we have the Poly G85-T. So the 85T uses the same touch control, the GC8, and the same computer pre-configured, But in the larger space, you're going to have a different audio device and camera system. So when it comes to the audio, we use this Poly Trio C60. So this is connected USB to the Teams room system. And this is your mics and your speakers for the calls. So you can have this in a medium or large size room. And if the room's larger, you can add expansion mics to this. And if it's really large, you can actually pair two of these Poly C60 phones over the network, and it'll act like one big audio system. So all the mics and speakers from both trios can be mixed together. How about the camera system? So in the large conference spaces, you typically need an optical zoom camera. And this is needed to minimize losing resolution. So, in the small, medium-sized rooms, you usually use digital zoom cameras where it has a wide shot, and then it just, as you zoom, it's actually cropping that same image. But in the large spaces, you have to go great distance, and you need optical zoom cameras typically so that you don't lose resolution the way you would it with a digital zoom camera. So in a large room, you're using an optical camera, something like this, which could be a single camera, but more than likely in the large rooms, certainly in a boardroom experience, you want something that's going to automatically track the conversation in the room. So we have the EagleEye Director system right up here, which has two of the optical zoom cameras. So if I bring up a call on the Teams room with that EagleEye Director connected, you see that those two optical cameras start spinning around and they start tracking in the room and looking to see where the active speakers are in the conference room. And it does that in real time. It can track multiple conversations at the same time. So it's doing face tracking, but it's actually listening as well. So there's actually 10 microphones that are built into the EagleEye Director. So 5 on the bottom and 5 on the top that are listening in the room to figure out where are the active speakers in the room and who is most active, so it can accurately switch to them. So that is the large conference room system, the Poly G85-T. Thanks.